The last train home. I'm Marco, a train conductor, and tonight was supposed to be like any other. Just another late-night shift running the red line, a job I've been doing for almost a decade. There's something about the night runs that I've always liked. No crowds, just me and the cab, overseeing the route in relative peace. My cab is my world. The hum of the engine, the steady rhythm of the tracks, and the soft glow of the control panel. Nick, my assistant conductor, handles the passengers. He's a joker, always trying to lighten the mood on these graveyard shifts. I usually hear him through the intercom, throwing me one of his bad jokes while he makes his rounds. "Hey, Marco," his voice crackled through earlier in the night. "What do you call a train loaded with bubble gum?" I sighed. Do I even want to know? "A choo-choo train?" Nick laughed at his own joke, the sound muffled through the speaker. I couldn't help but chuckle. Nick's been with me for a couple of years now, and though he's a little goofy, I've come to appreciate the company. Late shifts can get boring, and his jokes, bad as they are, help break the monotony. The night was going smoothly, just like the hundreds of others I'd worked. The train was running on time, and we were a couple of stops away from the end of the line. Then, about halfway through the route, something strange happened. The radio, usually a steady stream of dispatch updates and routine chatter, started crackling with static. It wasn't unusual for the signal to go in and out, but this was different. A broken message came through, garbled and panicked. "Incident. Next station. Stay. Caution." I frowned, adjusting the volume and trying to clear up the signal. "This is Marco on the red line. Dispatch, repeat the message. What's happening at the next station?" No response. I didn't like it. "Nick, you hearing this?" "Yeah, heard something, but it was all scrambled," Nick replied, his voice losing its usual light tone. "You think it's anything serious?" "Could be nothing, but something's definitely off." I kept the train moving, but my focus sharpened. As we approached the next station, I slowed down. The platform came into view, dimly lit by the flickering station lights. At first glance, it looked empty, but then I noticed movement. Several people, but something wasn't right. Their movements were jerky, stumbling, almost as if they were drunk or injured. I pressed the intercom. "Nick, hold off on opening the doors when we stop. Something's up ahead, and I'm not sure what." "Roger that." I brought the train to a halt just before the platform, the figures now more visible under the weak station lights. They were swaying, some leaning against the walls, others stumbling aimlessly. Their clothes were torn, and from the cab, it looked like a few of them were bleeding. I felt a pit form in my stomach. Something was very wrong here. Before I could get a better look, a loud bang echoed from one of the rear cars, followed by a muffled scream. My heart jumped into my throat. "Nick, what's going on back there?" I don't know yet," Nick responded, but his voice had an edge of worry now. "I'll check it out." I flicked through the internal camera feeds, scanning each car. Everything looked fine until I got to the third car. A man was staggering through the aisle, clutching his stomach, his face pale and gaunt. My first thought was that he was sick, maybe drunk or hurt. But then I noticed something else. Blood dripping from his fingers. "Nick, don't go near car 3, I shouted into the intercom. "There's someone in there. I think he's hurt, badly." But Nick had already entered the car, walking cautiously toward the man. I watched through the cameras, my heart pounding. The man turned slowly, revealing more of his face. His skin was sallow, his eyes glassy, and his mouth, oh God, his mouth was smeared with blood. "Nick, get out of there now," I yelled. Before Nick could react, the man lunged at him with a guttural growl, teeth bared. Nick stumbled back, barely dodging the attack. "Jesus Christ!" I heard Nick shout through the intercom. He managed to push the man off, but the infected passenger kept coming, his movements wild and inhuman. I watched helplessly as Nick grabbed a nearby fire extinguisher and swung it, knocking the man to the ground. Panting, Nick pressed the intercom. "Marco, what the hell is going on? This guy just tried to bite me." "I don't know, but lock the doors to the other cars. We can't let this spread." My hands were shaking as I hit the emergency lockdown button, sealing all the train doors. The train was now a fortress on the tracks, but I didn't feel safe. Nick secured the third car, blocking the infected man inside. But the panic was setting in. The passengers were starting to realize something was terribly wrong. "Marco, what do we do?" Nick's voice was tight, the humor gone now. "That wasn't just some sick guy. He's like, I don't know, rabbit or something." I swallowed hard, my mind racing. "I don't know, man. But whatever's happening, we're not letting anyone else off this train until we figure it out." Outside, the platform figures began to press against the train, their hands smearing blood across the windows. They weren't trying to board. They were trying to get at us. Whatever was happening out there was happening fast, and it was spreading. Fast. "We've got to warn the others," Nick said. "If one of them's already in the train, there could be more." I nodded, though he couldn't see me. "I'll make an announcement. Stay safe, Nick. Don't let anyone get too close." I grabbed the train's intercom and pressed the button, my voice echoing through the cars. "Attention passengers, this is your conductor. We have an emergency situation. For your safety, please stay in your seats and avoid any suspicious individuals. Do not leave the train until further notice." As I spoke, I glanced back at the monitors. The infected passenger was still inside car 3, his body twitching and convulsing. He wasn't dead, but he wasn't alive either. I didn't want to believe what was happening, but I had to face the truth. Whatever was going on, it wasn't just some. It was something much worse. I pulled up the map of the train's route on the monitor, searching for our best option. "The next station is a couple of miles ahead. If we can make it there, maybe we'll find some help, assuming this hasn't spread that far yet." Nick didn't answer right away. When he finally spoke, his voice was tense. "And if it has?" I hesitated. "Then we'll deal with it when we get there." Before I could set the train back in motion, another beeping echoed, this time from car 4. My heart sank as I flicked through the camera feeds again. In car 4, a woman was pounding on the door, her eyes wide with terror. Behind her, several passengers were scrambling over the seats, trying to escape something. And then I saw it, another infected, this one moving faster, more violently than the first. It tore through the car, knocking people aside like rag dolls. Blood splattered the windows. "Nick!" I shouted into the intercom. "We've got another one. Car 4, lock it down if you can." "I can't!" Nick's voice was frantic. "I already locked the door at car 3. I can't get any further than car 2. I clenched my fists, cursing under my breath. He was trapped on the wrong side of the train, unable to help. And now car 4 was a massacre waiting to happen. I watched in horror as the infected tore into the passengers, their screams echoing through the train. My stomach twisted, but I couldn't look away. The chaos was spreading, and we were losing control. Suddenly, the train's power flickered and the lights dimmed. The hum of the engine sputtered, and for a moment, everything went still. And then, the emergency lights flicked on, casting the train in an eerie red glow. "Marco," Nick's voice crackled through the intercom, barely audible over the static. "We've got a problem." I swallowed hard, dread creeping up my spine. "What is it?" "The power's failing. If it goes out completely, we'll be sitting ducks." I stared at the control panel, my mind racing. We were running out of time, and now the train itself was turning against us. If we lost power, we'd lose everything. Our only protection, our only chance to get out of this alive. "Hang on," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I'll see if I can override the system, get the power back." But as I reached for the controls, another sound cut through the silence. A low, guttural growl, coming from just outside the cab. My blood ran cold. Slowly, I turned toward the door, my heart pounding in my chest. Something was out there, and it was coming for me. Let me know in the comments below if you want to hear more from this story. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.